significant modernisation in policing in nearly 200 years. A new national police service, which is already being nicknamed Britain's FBI, will focus on counter-terror, serious and organised crime. Now, that's likely to mean changes to how the Met operates. Meanwhile, outside of London, forces could be merged, with those in Surrey, Essex, Thames Valley and Kent possibly under the spotlight. But as Cafe Patter has been finding out, most people just want to know what it all means for crime in our neighbourhoods.
Policing remains the last great unreformed public service. Today, as this government publishes a new policing white paper, I set out reforms that are long overdue.
Policing is changing, and the reforms announced today could mean a new Met for London. For people like Paige, whose stores have been robbed several times, this change is long overdue.
What I can't understand is how the different police departments don't talk to each other. You know, we had, on the Monday we had an incident in Surrey and on the Tuesday in London, but neither of them dealt with each other. So there's this huge, all this bureaucracy, and I'm sure if they were speaking to each other, they'd be able to solve the crime far quicker, yeah.
Paige may be in luck because amongst the suggested changes are fewer but bigger police forces. It means those like Surrey could merge with neighbouring Kent, something this commissioner thinks is a bad idea.
Our officers, and therefore and our resources, are in danger of being pulled into places in the South East Police Force that are more dangerous, places like Reading or Oxford, Portsmouth, Southampton. So it's a real challenge. And what it means is that Surrey communities will lose their local voice in policing.
Another talked about point in this white paper is a national police service, a British-style FBI that deals with serious crimes like terrorism, previously the job of the Met.
I think for London's communities, there's always going to be a strong focus on making sure our communities, our iconic sites, our VIPs are protected from terrorist risk, and the Met's going to continue to be a big part of that.
There are some areas where the Met isn't performing as well as they should. Will you be getting rid of those people leading those departments?
Well, we're being really robust. We should be accountable for our delivery in local communities, and the mechanisms for that might change, but it's important, you know, those mechanisms exist now for us to be held to account.
For all this talk of change, real reform is still a while away. Some even doubt they'll ever happen.
Well, these plans are ambitious, so how likely are they to be implemented?
Well, Charlene, the timeline is that completion will be 2034. That's the second term of Labour's time in government. That's a long way away if they actually get into power. Now, there's all this talk about British FBI, counter-terrorism changing, but the things people here in London care about is my watch going to be stolen? Is my phone going to be stolen? These are the issues they want the Met to tackle. So yes, there is a change in how policing is being approached, but does the perception of Londoners match that ambition? OK,
Kath, thanks very much. The actor Sadie Frost has told the High Court there was a price on my head for newspaper stories. She's one of 7 well-known people who accuse the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday of gathering information on them illegally. The former wife of Jude Law was part of the so-called Primrose Hill set of celebrities in the 90s, which included Kate Moss and Noel Gallagher. Ron K. Phillips sent this update from the High Court.
There were no waves or acknowledgement from the media from Sadie Frost as she arrived here at the High Court. Her claim relates to 11 articles and 2 of what have been called episodes of unlawful information gathering. In court, she repeatedly became emotional as she told the court she felt there was a price on her head. She said she knew that information behind some of the articles had been hacked from her voicemail as they were word for word from her messages. Now, one article refers to an incident concerning her then 2-year-old daughter. At the time, she was going through a divorce from fellow actor Jude Law. And she said it impacted on her relationship with him to the extent that he asked her if she was the source of the information. She told the court, "The stories they wrote violated me, my friends and family and my children, who were still so small. They made me believe I could not trust anyone. I'm so angry that Associated did this to me and thought it was okay to profit from someone going through so much pain without a thought for me or my children and the suffering they were causing me and us all. Now, Prince Harry was the first person to give evidence in this High Court case. In all, there are 7 claimants, including Baroness Doreen Lawrence, Liz Hurley, and the former MP for Bermondsey and Old Southwark, Simon Hughes. Lawyers for associated newspapers emphatically dispute the claims. They say all the stories were sourced from friends and family and that some of the claims have come far too late.
A fire ripped through an exclusive celebrity hotspot in Kensington early this morning, destroying part of the roof. 12 fire engines and around 80 firefighters tackled the fire at the Roof Gardens at around 1 a.m. The private members club sits on top of the 9-storey building. Police are appealing for this man to come forward after he intervened to protect 3 women who were being harassed on Camden High Street. Officers believe he may have vital information that could assist their investigation. The incident happened on the 14th of January, following reports that another man had attempted to rob and sexually assault a group of women. You can find more details on this story on our website, itv.com/London. Officers with Surrey Police who live in properties owned by the force have been told they'll need to leave their homes to make way for new recruits. They argue many families have settled on the understanding they could stay for the duration of their service. But the force says it needs to respond to the passing of the Renters' Rights Act, which takes effect on May the 1st. Carolyn Sim reports.
James Bales pores over documents, telling him he needs to find somewhere else to live. He moved in with his partner, who works for Surrey Police, 3 years ago. They have a child together and are settled here in Guildford, but they're being forced to leave by May the 1st.
We can't afford to rent locally at the current rates of renting and mortgages in the Surrey area. We're going to have to relocate, and that means moving our child from her school, from her friends, from the stability that she's got, and uprooting her and moving her nearly an hour away.
Surrey Police has historically offered accommodation to officers and staff, but now the priority is to attract new recruits. So anyone with more than 3 years' service is no longer eligible. At this home near Red Hill, there's a baby on the way. The family, who've lived here for 7 years, don't want to reveal their names, but want to speak out because they feel completely let down by the force.
This is my home. Where am I meant to go? I'm sure Surrey think they're doing us a favour by saying, well, we've given you longer than actually we legally have to. But actually, when you look at it, I've got 12 weeks to find a huge sum of money that I've had no warning that this was coming.
Police families say it's ironic that from May, the new Renters' Rights Act will offer better protection for tenants. But as Surrey Police told us, the passing of the Renters' Rights Act has meant that action around the police estate had to be taken now to ensure our subsidised housing can be utilised by those meeting our criteria.
What we'd have liked to have seen is the force consult and have dialogue with the individuals affected, and also bring us into the picture so we can, work with everybody.
Tenants did sign a letter in December 2024 acknowledging that the force could ask them to leave, but families say it never said when. Carolyn Sim, ITV News, Surrey.
Still to come on the programme. The man of the moment is here. Stephen tells us the secret to Traitors' success and... Ahead of their show at the Ali Pali, the Rizzle Kicks joins us live. First, we know the damage some parts of the fashion industry can cause to the environment, from water pollution to clothing dumps. But a new exhibition in King's Cross is trying to show how leisure and high-performance wear can be made in a cleaner, more sustainable way. Antoine Allen has been for a look.
What we're showing the viewer here at Fabrica X is flax linen from the plant through to the fibre, through to the finished garment and sports equipment.
The rough and tumble of sports causes wear and tear on clothes that often end up filling landfills. But this Performance Without Toxicity exhibition in King's Cross showcases climate-friendly clothes and techniques that don't rely on petroleum-based materials. These items were made from flax and hemp.
You know, being a waste-free crop and being locally grown by people with local expertise, you know, it has inherent benefits in terms of ventilation properties, in terms of moisture management.
The exhibition features a range of new brands that have put sustainability at their hearts. But these shoes have a traditional lineage. 200 years ago, Galahad Clark's family established Clark's Shoes, which is no longer British owned. Would you say this is the future?
Yes.
His own company, Vivo Barefoot, uses bio-friendly material and personalised foot scans to produce a new generation of footwear.
The footwear industry is not just damaging for the planet, but it's also damaging to people's health. And sustainability is often sort of confused that it's just about the planet, but actually humans being able to thrive on the planet is also an important part of sustainability.
In order to get the colours in sportswear, vast amounts of water and heat are normally used, but this jacket is designed in a way that cuts over 50% of water consumption.
We use to discoloration process per kilogram of textile. We are able to reduce water consumption by 55% and then CO2 emission by 16% compared to the conventional way of coloring textile.
The Performance Without Toxicity exhibition welcomes all levels of sustainability knowledge. There's so much here for people to look at, to read, to even touch. What do you want people to feel when they've left?
Optimistic. We want to encourage people that when they do get out there, when they do choose the clothes that they wear for that sport, that there are alternatives out there that are both good for them and the planet.
If you're interested in the process of making clothing that isn't reliant on toxic materials, the free exhibition is open from now until the end of June. Antoine Allen, ITV News.
Next tonight, he showed there can be honour in treachery, style beneath the cloak, and you can be raised on one of the UK's furthermost island, but London is where you're free to express yourself. We're talking about Stephen Libby, of course, winner of The Traitors. With the announcement the TV show is to become a West End theatre production, Helen Keenan sat down with him this afternoon. First, here's the moment Stephen clinched half the prize money in front of more than 9 million viewers.
And so for reasons that will become clear, Jack, I've written your name down.
Wow.
Oh my God.
You have each got £47,875. Go on, cuddle each other.
Stephen, congratulations.
Thank you.
Is it quite nice now to be...
Oh my goodness, it's so lovely to be able to just talk about it openly now because, yeah, I mean, it's a long time to keep such a big secret for, you know, but if I was, you know, going to do any training in how to lie, what I did in the castle was probably a good boot camp, you know, on how to hold up a lie. So, no, I didn't do any training, and I think that kind of showed in my performance.
How is everybody not hearing someone get up in the night when you've got to go to a turret? How does all of that work?
Do you know, the whole thing is a military operation. You know, there's so many moments like going home each night, or like the confessional, or like the Jack in the Box mission where we're having to creep out of the boxes where your cover could be blown at any moment, but they've got it so under wraps that, you know, the game is just kept really, really slick.
You were getting quite emotional, weren't you, at times?
I was.
I mean, particularly stands out is when Fiona was banished.
I know.
So actually, I think we can show you a few of your most emotional clips now.
Okay. I'm really sorry, Hugo, but I've written your name down. I'm really sorry I've put your name down. Jade, I'm so sorry, my darling. Fiona, I've written your name down tonight. I really struggled to kind of compartmentalise my emotions and the game. I think I just feel guilt so deeply, and I hate letting people down, and I feel like that's what I was doing when I was voting for people that I genuinely really liked.
You touched on your sexuality and what that was like growing up on a small island. You do now live in London, don't you?
I do live in London now, yes.
And what was that like for you? Did that really help moving to the capital?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, London's, a place where you can be whoever you want to be, dress however you want to dress, and, you know, it's just such a melting pot of everything. And I think that was one of the draws for me to London. And it's just been a place where I've been able to really, you know, open up in terms of like what I wear, how I act.
We've heard that there's going to be a Traitors show coming on stage.
Yes, I'm already making contact to see if I can get a part in this show.
I bet. Do you think you might try and audition for that?
Absolutely, I would love to be in it, even if it's just like, I don't know, like turret number 1, I'm just standing there with a turret cardboard cutout over my face. I don't care, I want to be on that stage.
Now, as we said, not only was the focus for the viewer on who you were going to murder that night, it was also in which fabulous outfit you were going to do it in. Are these favourites of yours?
Do you know what? If I had to pick a top 4, I think these would definitely come into it for sure. I love each and every one of these outfits. They're great. This is what I would wear, you know, maybe not to the supermarket, but like for a nice boogie.
Don't ruin the illusion.
Yeah, sorry. See me with my messages in a jumpsuit.
What do you think is the secret to winning the Traitors?
I think consistency, maybe. I was consistently terrified, consistently sweating, consistently red. So if I can offer one bit of advice to future players, it's just be consistent in whatever you do, even if it is looking absolutely petrified every single day.
It's a great piece of life advice.
Yes, exactly. Consistency is key.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It was so lovely to meet you.
What a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Stephen spills more secrets from the turret in a longer interview with Helen online. Just go to itv.com/London to catch it in full. But our guests tonight one of them still hasn't caught up with it in full, so had his ears, fingered his ears for the whole of Helen's piece. And that is you, Jordan.
I needed a warning. We're behind. Me and Jade are behind. We've been busy, man. I ain't seen it.
But it was on days ago.
But you can't expect people to just like cater for your guys' needs all over London.
It's not all over. I didn't realise we were coming in before. Anyway.
Anyway, you
it.
didn't hear it. Fingers in ears. Let me explain why they're here. They're here because you're about to go on your biggest headline gig of your career so far.
Yeah.
You're going to be at the Alexandra Palace, the Ali Pally. Before we have a chat about that and their newer album, which is Competition is for Losers, we'll have a chat about that after this.
Rizzle kicks, yeah. Vibes keep going up and down like a seesaw. Should've just taken that to the cinema to seesaw. Get down with the trumpets. Let's get down with the trumpets. Mama do the hop, mama do the hop. Mama won't you please tell me do the hop.
Yeah, the absolutely brilliant Jordan Stevens and Harley Alexander Seeley. Thank you both so much for coming in. I've got to say, I read so much about your friendship and the little interaction you were both having when you were trying not to listen to Helen's piece.
Yeah.
You know, I think the story of your friendship is one of the most powerful things about you guys.
Nice.
Because I just think you are a really good advocate for the power of male friendship and the fact that friendship takes work. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely. Male friendship's something we talk about a lot. Seems maybe slightly harder, perhaps, to nurture and cultivate. It maybe hasn't been encouraged. I don't know. How do you feel about male friendship? I think maybe it comes more naturally to you than...
I don't know. I think a lot of male friendships can be... I don't want to say surface level, that's not the right thing, but a lot of men like hide underneath like bravado and pub and footy and stuff. And I guess when you get two people who have to like spend a lot of time together, obviously a lot of more deep stuff.
It's gone through waves, It's gone through waves. I think that's the test of time, going through adversity, all of these things bring us closer. I mean, we've been vulnerable in front of each other a lot, so... Yeah,
and that vulnerability is, I guess, why coming back together and working together has been magical. Seeing you both on stage and listening to the album, I think, is just amazing. And was it an easy or a difficult decision when you both decided to start working together again, Harley?
It kind of just happened naturally. We'd been speaking about it for a little while, and there was a bit of external noise about it happening. And I think, you know, I had kids, and I really wanted them to like see that version of myself that I used to have, and that was a big driving force for me personally to want to do it again. And I think me and Jordan went through a lot of, like we spoke about, like different stages of our relationship, and we were really, really close, and it just kind of felt like it made sense to make music again with that kind of hat on.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing to listen to. I was listening to the album earlier, and you can hear the maturity and growth in the lyrics, the music style, and everything. It's a really lovely listen. But what was it like for both of you to be back on stage? Because you took the album Competition is for Losers on tour last year, and you played at festivals. How did that feel after all this time?
All of our expectations were surpassed, honestly. It sounds like a blag, but we genuinely didn't know how many tickets we'd sell if we said we were going to do gigs again. No, not really. And the album was really fun to make. We hope it reflects maturity, because obviously one of the mad things about us is we first rose into the public consciousness at 19. So we'd like to believe the music now is more mature than that. But yeah, the response live was amazing. Being on stage, really fun. Same band as we had last time we performed, which was about 8 years ago. Wow. And then we played Glastonbury, and that was just, I can't even put into... I actually struggled to think of the words, man. Like, you know, it's obviously a dream of ours to be. We did a secret gig there when we were younger, but the turnout was out of this world.
You mean a lot to a lot of people, and I think you was also a reminder of, I don't know, a time in everybody's lives where things were perhaps a little bit easier and all of that stuff.
Definitely.
But playing at Alexandra Palace is huge. Are you excited?
I can't wait. I mean, excited, definitely.
It's a mad booking.
It is a great...
It was a mad booking. Everyone in the team seems confident. We were like, all right.
It's you know, that Ali Pali for me, like, I'm a North London boy. Like, that's like a staple of my childhood, staple of like everything.
So you're coming home. It'll be amazing.
Kind of, yeah. It's like...
So we definitely... I've got to stop you there, so you've got to go to the weather. But
it's sunny.
It's going to be Alexandra Palace.
Please come see us at Ali Pali, biggest show ever. It's going to be amazing.
Right, weather.
Come rain or shine, Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Hello there. Well, today may have started on a fairly quiet note, but things are set to go downhill a little later, and we do actually have a Met-Office warning coming into force overnight, courtesy of Storm Chandra. That will be bringing a fair bit of rain and some blustery winds as well. And we can see it on the pressure chart. Chandra working their way northwards as we head through tonight and into tomorrow, slowly then twisting and heading back northwestwards, but it will be followed by further weather fronts, so we're not quite out of the woods, even once the storm is cleared. For now, though, still quite dry, albeit rather cloudy. And then as the night wears on, you can see the rain piling in, becoming increasingly persistent and locally heavy in places as the night wears on. Blustery winds as well, but all of that keeping the temperatures up. So, of course, small compensation. It will be a frost-free picture overnight. But tomorrow morning, a thoroughly grotty start to the day. Storm Chandra is still very much on the scene, so tricky driving conditions, perhaps some disruption to public transport as well. But conditions will gradually improve as we head through the day. The rain moves away, the cloud starts to thin and break, and a few of us may see some bright, or dare I say even sunny spells through the second half of the day. Temperatures as well a little up on today's values, peaking at around 9 or 10 degrees Celsius. As we head into tomorrow evening, further showers then follow in behind that storm, but they'll tend to peter out overnight into Wednesday. And so for Wednesday itself, probably one of the better days of the week. Hopefully a spell of drier and brighter weather. Thereafter, though, still pretty unsettled. Further rain or showers on the way, and temperatures perhaps on the slide by night.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
And finally, on this day a century ago, engineer John Logie Baird demonstrated the first proper TV set in Soho. Now, few people were there at his lab on Frith Street to see the moving images, but it was history in the making and the start of London beaming to the world. Here's Graham Stothard on TV, turning 100.
Harder. There we go, round of applause.
Who better to open an exhibition on television history than television royalty? Actors, newsreaders and comedians were in Soho earlier to mark 100 years to the day since the first formal demonstration of a functional TV.
I think as somebody who's worked in television for now 60 years, I have to say a huge thank you to Mr. Logie Baird for providing me with a profession.
He didn't do it alone. He was helped by a team of engineers and a ventriloquist dummy called Stooky Bill, who provided a focal point for this early technology.
This spinning disc would focus a light on the subject,
And then effectively what you're doing is you're sensing the intensity of that light spot and turning that into an electrical signal that then was transferred onto a radio wave and transmitted across then to a display unit or a televisor.
It was in this building he first showcased to a small audience how his system could transmit and receive images. But it was 10 years later where a television service, as we now know it, really started, with a transmission made from the tower here at Alexandra Palace in 1936, filmed live within its Victorian walls. It's quite empty now, but decades ago this would have been full of camera equipment, busy people, television people.
Yeah, the engineers would have been wearing white lab coats and it would have been very hot and very busy.
Kirsten helped preserve the history here.
This is the Baird Studio, Studio B, where in 1936 the competition for television began, and all of the Baird equipment was installed here and in the room that we've just come from.
The development of TV has seen some of the world's most important moments captured, but to this day the UK's most viewed broadcast remains the 1966 World Cup final.
First goes forward, he might make it 3. He has!
Just a few years later, man's first steps on the moon were immortalised, and decades after that, millions across the world watched Prince Charles crowned king. In Soho to help celebrate his grandfather's part in making this possible was Ian Logie-Baird.
It's a bit like traveling through time, because you're coming back to this place where television had a major breakthrough. The significance of that event is now echoing in today's timeline.
Broadcast history first made, now remembered in the heart of London. Graham Stothard, ITV News.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Right, that's it from us. The evening news is next with Mary, of course. But for now, from all of us on the London team, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.